Fellas, today I want to talk about secret content, starting with what the hell actually went down with Telesto this past week. On November the 8th, which was a Tuesday at reset, we suddenly realized that Telesto's firing mode was altered. And when loading into an activity, the base firing mode for Telesto would shoot bolts that would slowly travel through the air and ascend upward over time. Now, Telesto at this moment actually had a spark and smoke effect that had been added, similar to the effects present on the Broken Again bundle items in the Eververse shop. Now, many of us trying to find a pattern with the bolts and gun animations. We even have folks like Paul Tassi saying maybe it's constellations. Hell, we too were taking constant screenshots of the bolt patterns, wondering, was this in fact a start to a secret puzzle? Now, the streamers and creators took it a step further and started visiting different locations across the solar system, even going as far as to glitch into the mythical galaxy pools, but every single one of us returned empty-handed, which brings us to day 2, Wednesday, November the 9th. Telesto's firing mode changed yet again, this time removing the alternate firing mode and converting it back to its original form, except with one change. The bolts now deal immediate damage and have delayed explosions similar to Graviton Lance, which is what's made it so nasty inside of PvP. Bungie's Twitter account was converted also into Telesto. Their TikTok page posted a sentient Telesto video, and multiple social channels confirmed that there was actually no puzzle to solve associated with the gun. Even Destiny Item Manager was updated to change weapon icons to Telesto, as well as light GG when hovering over them, which brings us to day 3, Thursday, November the 10th. Now, this is Thursday, so of course we had a TWAB, and this one was a Telesto themed TWAB. The emblem code for Schrodinger's gun was released with no strings attached. Bungie also sent out an email with Telesto stats and info, along with promotions for all the Telesto merchandise. It was at this moment that people started to discover how good Telesto was inside of PvP, which actually brings us to day 4, Friday, November the 11th. We said it right before trials. What if Xur sold Telesto? Considering how good it is, and sure enough, Xur sold Telesto. With the new change there in its firing mode, everyone got to actually partake in Telesto's ultimate form and nastiness inside of PvP, as well as trials, and it actually deemed this past weekend of trials as Trials of Telesto. Trials report also put Telesto as the #1 most used weapon this past weekend, which is crazy. That's no meme, by the way. Telesto was a weapon that never even broke the top 10, and all of a sudden it has 13% usage inside of trials. It's nuts. Now, with all of this taking place, I wanted to go ahead and give my full thoughts on all the changes that affected Telesto, but more of what we were left hoping for. Because even though this was a cool, interesting, I guess, event, not really an event, but we could just say an event, there was no puzzle and no major reward given to the player bases outside, of course, an emblem that you could have gotten whether you contributed or play with Telesto or not. Now, some make the argument that all this event was meant to do was just drive sales of Telesto merchandise inside of the Eververse store. Now, while there certainly is that aspect, Bungie didn't even feature these items in the TWAB this past week. The Telesto shirt was available for purchase long before the event even took place, and other Telesto references have been popping up all season long. I'd be more inclined to believe this was a marketing stunt to pull players just back in the game during a seasonal lull, with the benefit of turning a profit along the way. But the resounding response across the player bases to this event is that we want more puzzles, mysteries, exotic missions back in the game, secrets, something to take us for that long haul, but also reward us for our time spent. Guys, let me just take some of my new light players down memory lane, because there appears to be a portion of the population that doesn't really understand what mystery activities even entail. So let's start with the Whisper mission. On Friday, July the 20th, 2018, the Whisper mission was discovered. This was actually months after the release of the Warmind DLC, and it was actually tied to public events on Io. And simply killing a Taken Knight would open a portal that would begin the mission. Now, this mission was crazy. You only had 20 minutes to complete it, which featured intense platforming and waves of ads before being rewarded with the exotic heavy sniper rifle, Whisper of the Worm. Now, of course, this was back when we had double primary, but this exotic returned to us pretty much the way we liked it back inside of D1 when it was still Black Hammer. And I don't care what anyone says, Black Hammer was better than Black Spindled all day long. Now, there was also more to even discover inside of the mission. There was a heroic difficulty for the catalyst. There was secret chests with a portal and oracle puzzle to unlock all 6. This was a callback to, of course, the Vault of Glass. And opening these chests over several weeks would unlock the schematics for an exotic ship. Now, what was so good about this mission is that there were layers of secrets, always more to discover, lots of replayability to accomplish, better times, and of course unlock that exotic ship. And the exotic itself was technically a reprised version of Destiny 1's Black Hammer and Black Spindle. This was a defining moment for Destiny 2. A lot of people associate Destiny 2 being saved by Forsaken, but it was the groundwork that was laid in Warmind DLC, and the Whisper mission was a big part of it. I remember seeing people that had pretty much given up on Destiny completely suddenly come back just to play this mission. More so than that, it was such a surprise, and with the secrets, it lended a level of exploration and awe that kept us coming back for more and more. Which brings us to our next next mystery activity, Niobe Labs. You want to talk about a mind-blowing mystery? This was it, man. The rewards was a ghost shell, an emblem, and it also progressed the quest to unlock Izanagi's burden. But on Tuesday, January the 8th, 2019, Niobe Labs was discovered in the EDZ, and solving the puzzle would unlock the Burgurzia Forge, which was the final forge of that season. Now, if you remember back then, guys, you had to discover the forges and unlock them. And I know a lot of people complained about the difficulty of the forges, especially day one. Bungie had to actually roll back how difficult they were, but man, was it challenging. And what was so amazing is that you would just stumble upon these forges in the normal world, which was really awesome. Now, there were 7 layers to this puzzle, though, for Niobe Labs, which required players to shoot symbols on the wall with black armory weapons. This one puzzle alone took 72 hours to solve. Bungie made a very controversial move and unlocked the forge before Niobe Labs, and its puzzle was solved due to complaints from members of the community who viewed the forge as paid content that they were unable to access because streamers couldn't solve the puzzle. Yeah, we were trying, guys. It was just a difficult one, but there were a lot of people complaining like, yo, I pay for this content, why can't I have access? And that's the kind of backlash that really made Bungie pull back from incredible puzzles like Niobe Labs. This was the start of what we believe was Bungie's justification for why secret events stopped. Now, 0 Hour. This was another very popular mission which rewarded Outbreak Perfected. It was discovered May 7th, 2019. The quest actually began after completing a lost sector and receiving a fallen transponder from Mithrax, who in Season the Plunder we're now very familiar with. Now, the secret mission then led us to the Old Tower, which we hadn't seen since the beginning of the Red War campaign. One of the highlights was actually a maze patrolled by a killer robot named Trevor. Similar to the Whisper mission, there was a 20-minute timer to complete this one. We also had a heroic version for the Outbreak Perfected Catalyst, and it also had roots back in Destiny 1. The Outbreak Prime Exotic Pulse Rifle had a very complicated ARG puzzle that actually took lots of work from top clans like Math Class to solve. And these were all tied to Wrath of the Machine, which was a raid from Rise of Iron. I still remember my clanmates waking me up at 3 a.m. and we were all just stumbling into a party chat to try to solve this puzzle. Now, each week, the heroic mission would actually change. It was on a 3-week cycle that would adjust the solutions to the puzzles. There was also a console puzzle that was very difficult and required the community to basically brute force a solution. Unfortunately, the reward for solving it was one of the ugliest ships in the game. So many players felt rightfully scammed for taking so much effort solving this puzzle, which brings us to Corridors of Time. This actually rewarded Bastion. Tuesday, January the 14th, 2020, Osiris had a new quest that required players to explore the Corridors of Time, a new mission added in Season the Dawn. Now, this was essentially a giant maze with 5 diverging pathways at each junction, and each door had a symbol associated with it. At first, the player base thought that this would be solved quickly. Little did we know that this mystery would take 6 whole days of community collaboration to map out the correct path. Now, we're not going to go into much detail here on Corridors of Time and its puzzle. Honestly, you should really check out Evan's video. He did a dedicated video going over everything here and all the details surrounding it. But to just give you a sense of scale, there were literally Destiny 2 streamers sleeping on stream and folks constantly in Discords solving puzzles 24 hours a day for 6 days straight. Players in the community, from raid secrets to Reddit to Twitter to every Destiny Discord, everybody was coming together to share their unique corridor symbols. And funny enough, Google Sheets actually shut down the data collection spreadsheet because it got flagged as a DDoS attack due to the sheer amount of information and users. This is no joke, guys. That's how big this puzzle was. Now, upon completion, many players were expecting a secret exotic sword, but the reward ended up being Bastion, which was an exotic fusion rifle. Now, this may have been well received if players didn't already know of its existence in the season pass, and also despite this event requiring the most community collaboration ever in the history of Destiny Mysteries, casual players still complained that the content was gatekept by those select few streamers and hardcore players who led the charge in the puzzle solving. Another wet towel on the whole event, Bungie closed the Corridors of Time on January the 28th, only 2 weeks after the puzzles was released, which leads into our next discussion on this topic. We have nothing. There are several other semi-secret or special exotic missions that we haven't mentioned. The Other Side, which rewarded Bad Juju. Harbinger, which rewarded Hawkmoon random rolls. Presage, which rewarded DMT random rolls. Vox Obscura, which rewards Dead Messenger. All of these were special in their own way. Presage in particular was considered one of the best pieces of content in the last year. But the issue with all these activities and puzzles that we previously mentioned, none of them are in the game anymore outside of Vox Obscura. All of them have been sunset, meaning there's no way for us to relive these great pieces of content and nothing new to replace them. This only exacerbated the issue. We were desperate for a secret puzzle surrounding Telesto. And I think we're also quick to forget the hotfix earlier this month that baited the community into thinking there was a secret quest added to the game. We We want more secrets, more puzzles, more things to immerse us into the world of Destiny. These were the missions that awed us. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I can't help but feel that community does share some of the fault here to why we don't have secret content. With the initial reactions Bungie received from Niobe Labs and Corridors of Time, it's not too hard to believe that Bungie decided, given the technical challenges required to pull these events off on such a large scale, that it just wasn't worth the potential backlash, and instead put more time into things like dungeons, raids, and legendary campaigns. Was this a better decision for both marketing and monetary reasons? I don't know. Only Bungie sees that data. Is this also an excuse, though, for Bungie to not make this type of content anymore? Absolutely not. But I do believe that the recent events have served as a wake-up call that we as a community inside of Destiny enjoy secrets, mysteries, and puzzles that test our problem-solving abilities and brings the community together. There are lots of other games out there that challenges you, whether technically, intellectually, that tests our endurance. And one thing that these puzzles bring about is that it tests every single one of those facets, and it tests us collectively. These type of missions should never be removed from the game. They should always be present. Watering the game down has been a mistake that Bungie has made time and time again in the past. A lot of people have brought up about player fatigue. You know what invigorates you? You know what immediately snaps you out of that fatigue? It's missions like these, mysteries like these that you just stumble upon in the wild, and suddenly you find yourself looking for answers. Destiny has a lot of things going for it, but if there is one aspect Bungie has lost over the past couple years, it is that level of mystery that pushes us to search. And considering this is the game of us literally exploring the stars, that should be something that's embedded constantly. So guys, that is my thoughts on this. Let me know in the comments below what you think. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, a like is very much appreciated. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, hang around. We cover everything in Destiny. I feel like I've been playing this game for a lifetime. And believe me, guys, I think Destiny's going to be around for a very, very long time. But there are some things that really defines Destiny. And these secret missions, these mysteries, is 100% a core aspect. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.